You find yourself in the midst of a dense forest, the air crisp and filled with the earthy aroma of damp leaves. Gentle whispers of wind rustle the treetops, and you can hear the distant call of a bird of prey, soaring overhead. In this tranquil scene, a knight clad in shining armor stands tall, a majestic falcon perched on his gloved fist. The sun filters through the branches, casting dappled light on his regal figure, and you can almost feel the admiration of those who surround him. The knight, a symbol of chivalry and nobility, is not just a warrior, but also a master of the ancient art of falconry. Now, you might think that in this romanticized world, each noble knight had a perfectly trained falcon, a creature that gracefully adorned their arm and swooped through the skies in flawless harmony. You may even believe they lived in a perpetual state of hunting glory, with their falcons eagerly returning to them after every hunt, feathers pristine and spirits high. But as you settle deeper into this soothing narrative, prepare for a twist in the tale that might just surprise you. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Imagine the knight's intricate relationship with his falcon, a bond forged through hours of training, trust, and sometimes sheer frustration. You can picture the sun-drenched fields where they hunted together, the wind whipping through their hair, the thrill of the chase electrifying the air. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. The connection between medieval knights and their pet falcons goes beyond mere companionship. It encompasses a rich tapestry of social status, tradition, and survival. For knights, falconry was not just a pastime, it was a demonstration of status and skill. A knight who possessed a falcon was not only seen as a proficient hunter, but also as a figure of refinement and privilege. The art of falconry was steeped in tradition and imbued with a kind of mystique that surrounded the noble classes of the medieval period. But as you delve deeper into the history of falconry, the glamorous illusion begins to unravel. While knights may have appeared as paragon figures commanding their birds with ease, the reality of falconry was often far more demanding and complicated. Training a falcon, for instance, was no simple task. It required immense dedication and patience, often leading to moments of frustration and despair. You can imagine the knight standing in the early morning light, the air still and silent, grappling with a falcon that stubbornly refused to soar back to him. As falconry developed into a highly regimented sport, the expectations placed on both the knight and the bird grew heavier. The knights were tasked not only with training but also with understanding the nuanced needs of their falcons. This included meticulous attention to the bird's diet, health, and even temperament. A falcon that wasn't properly cared for could easily become unruly, leading to a rather embarrassing situation for its noble owner. In fact, falconry was rife with hidden challenges that could turn the seemingly glamorous pastime into a daunting responsibility. For instance, the diet of a falcon was far from glamorous. These birds were carnivorous and required fresh meat, often fed on small game or even the remains of other birds. You might picture the noble knight, freshly polished armor glinting in the sun, only to find him dealing with the raw and unseemly aspects of his falcon's diet. Why, you might wonder, was this reality accepted? The answer lies in the medieval worldview. The nobility held a belief that their status was intertwined with their ability to dominate nature, and falconry was a manifestation of that control. The struggle, the hardships, the blood and feathers, it was all part of the delicate dance that defined their world. Failure to maintain a falcon's care could lead not only to a loss of the bird, but also to a tarnished reputation among peers. As you consider this contrasting reality, take a moment to visualize the knight in his resplendent castle, surrounded by the trappings of wealth and power, yet grappling with the visceral reality that came with caring for a live animal. That image of splendor intertwined with the gritty truths of life as a falconer illustrates the profound contradictions of medieval life. This journey into the world of medieval knights and their falcons is just beginning, and as you settle deeper into the narrative, prepare to uncover more about the fascinating complexities that define their bond. Each layer peeled back reveals not just the allure of chivalry, but the hidden challenges that those noble figures faced, shaping a uniquely intricate relationship that transcended the mere act of hunting. You remain enveloped in the soft ambience of the medieval forest, where the whispers of the wind weave tales of grandeur and strife. As the knight stands proudly with his falcon, let's dive deeper into the glamorous illusion of falconry, a world that sparkles on the surface, yet conceals the complexities beneath. The practice of falconry was a proud emblem of nobility throughout the medieval period. Knights, lords, and ladies of the court revelled in the opportunity to showcase their magnificent birds as symbols of power and social standing. Imagine the lavish feasts where tales of successful hunts were exchanged over goblets of wine, the air thick with laughter and perfumed with the sweet aromas of roasted meats. Each guest was intricately aware of the prestige that came with possessing a well-trained falcon, a bird capable of soaring through the skies and bringing back game with unmatched grace and speed. But what lies beneath this shimmering fade? The reality of maintaining a falcon was far less glamorous than the image conjured by epic tales and poetic verses. While the idea of a chivalrous knight gallantly releasing his falcon into the sky is enchanting, the truth is that falconry demanded rigorous discipline and a unique understanding of these magnificent birds. Training a falcon was akin to managing a small, fierce creature with a mind of its own. A falconer had to endure countless hours of trial and error, dealing with temperamental birds that could just as easily choose to ignore their master's commands. Picture this: you're the knight, standing under the vast expanse of the sky, your leather glove adorned with a leather-hooded falcon. You raise your arm, calling out, but your feathered companion decides that today is not the day for cooperation. While the knights may have been celebrated for their prowess, the training process was often filled with exasperation. The falcons themselves had specific needs that needed to be met, from their diet to their habitat. Knights had to become skilled at understanding the behavior of these birds, often learning through experience rather than formal instruction. The glamorous image of hunting together belies the reality of worn-down patience and the less than pleasant task of providing proper care. Imagine preparing fresh meat for your falcon, perhaps even having to catch the very quarry that would later serve as its meal. The noble knight, one who revered the beauty of the hunt, often found himself engaging in a messy, gritty process that was far removed from the elegance of the hunt itself. Why was this arduous task so widely accepted among the nobility? The answer is steeped in the norms of medieval society. Falconry was not merely about hunting, it was an intricate dance of power dynamics and social hierarchy. Knights who mastered this art showcased their ability to command not only their falcons, but nature itself. The sweat and labor involved in falcon care were viewed as necessary sacrifices for the grandeur of their status. The struggle became part of their identity. The willingness to embrace the challenges of falconry was a testament to their commitment to the chivalric code. And yet, amidst the complexities, there was an undeniable allure to falconry that captivated the hearts of the medieval elite. The bond between knight and falcon was often romanticized, a symbol of loyalty, honor, and valor. You can almost hear the triumphant shouts of a knight returning from a successful hunt, the thrill of the chase still echoing in the air, while his falcon proudly displays its prized catch. But even in these moments of triumph, the reality of the behind-the-scenes effort remains, hidden from the revelry of the banquet hall. The picturesque image of knights and their falcons glides along the surface, but as you peel back the layers, the truth reveals a world that is as challenging as it is splendid. The struggles of falconry became emblematic of the very essence of knighthood, a journey filled with trials, tribulations, and the unwavering pursuit of excellence. As you allow this realization to settle in, think of the countless knights who stood in the morning dew with their falcons, silently acknowledging the demanding bond they shared. In this enchanted world, falconry was not just a sport, it was a testament to the resilience and strength of character required to navigate the complexities of life as a noble. With each unfolding layer, the story of knights and their falcons introduces new dimensions, revealing a fascinating contrast between public perception and the hidden truths. You are about to step further into this intricate world, where the beauty of falconry intertwines with the gritty reality of care, commitment, and the pursuit of a noble identity. As you continue to linger in the enchanting atmosphere of medieval life, with the soft sounds of rustling leaves and distant bird calls surrounding you, let's venture deeper into the less glamorous aspects of caring for falcons. The bond between knight and bird may seem idyllic, but beneath the surface lies a harsh reality that reveals the true demands of falconry. To care for a falcon was no small feat. It required unwavering commitment, a deep understanding of the bird's needs, and a dash of ingenuity. You might picture the knight in his castle, surrounded by tapestries and ornate furniture, yet find that his days were often filled with the unsightly labor of preparing the falcon's meals. These magnificent creatures were not just pets to be adored, they required a diet rich in fresh meat, ideally something they would hunt in the wild. However, this presented a significant challenge. Imagine the knight, still clad in his shining armor, venturing out to procure fresh game. Whether it be a rabbit, a hare, or a small bird, the task often involved tracking and hunting prey, an act that demanded skill and patience. Upon catching the game, the knight would have to prepare the meat for his falcon. Think about it. While he may have been revered for his bravery in battle, he also had to roll up his sleeves and engage in the messy business of butchery. Feathers, blood, and guts, the very things that were typically hidden behind closed castle doors, now became a part of his daily existence. This gritty reality starkly contrasts with the noble image of knights at grand hunts, elegantly releasing their falcons into the air. The unvarnished truth is that falcons were not always gracious about their meals. They could be picky eaters that required careful handling. A knight would have to know not just how to catch the game, but how to present it appealingly to the falcon, ensuring that it was fresh and interesting enough for their discerning palates. As falcons were trained, their temperaments could also pose challenges. A falcon in training might refuse to fly back to its master after a hunt, or even become aggressive if not handled properly. You can envision the knight, heart racing, calling out for his falcon as it glides effortlessly through the sky, only to find that it has other ideas. The falcon's independence, which was part of its charm, often turned into a source of frustration. The beautiful image of a knight and his falcon became one of stubbornness and negotiation, an ongoing battle of wills. Why would knights endure this relentless cycle of effort and frustration? The answer is rooted in the values of their society. Falconry was not merely a hobby, it was deeply intertwined with a knight's identity and responsibilities. To master falconry was to embody the virtues of patience, skill, and resilience, qualities that were admired and respected. Knights understood that the challenges of falcon care were integral to their status. The labor put into training and maintaining the falcon reflected their commitment to the chivalric code, a testament to their ability to command both nature and their own destinies. This blend of struggle and honor created a profound relationship between the knight and his falcon. When the bird finally responded after hours of training, the bond formed was forged through hardship and persistence. The falcon's ability to hunt not only brought glory to its master, but also solidified their shared experience, a dance of trust and mutual reliance. It was this very dynamic that contributed to the reverence for falcons within noble circles, even as the reality of their care remained gritty and demanding. Moreover, the act of caring for a falcon extended beyond mere physical needs. It also encompassed emotional support and companionship. The knight's relationship with his falcon was deeply personal. In the quiet moments spent together, there was a shared understanding that transcended words. You can almost hear the soft cooing of the falcon as it nestled against its master, a fleeting moment of tenderness amidst the rigors of training and hunting. As you reflect on this rich tapestry of life intertwined with falconry, you can't help but appreciate the striking contrasts that define this noble pursuit. The images of gallant knights, their falcons soaring high above, coexist with the messy, demanding realities of caring for these magnificent birds. It is within this duality that the true essence of falconry emerges, a beautiful yet complex relationship shaped by both the nobility of spirit and the rawness of life. With each revelation, you find yourself drawn further into this captivating world, eager to uncover more about the cultural significance of falcons and their place in the lives of the medieval elite. So, as we continue our journey, keep your senses attuned to the layers of history that await, rich with tales of honor, struggle, and the indomitable spirit of those who dared to partner with nature. As you linger in the lush landscape of medieval life, enveloped in the sounds of nature, let's explore the profound symbolism that falcons held in the eyes of the nobility. Their majestic presence in the skies was not just a testament to the skill of their handlers, it was also deeply embedded in the cultural and societal fabric of the medieval world. In the eyes of the knights and lords, falcons represented more than mere creatures of the hunt. They were powerful symbols of nobility, freedom, and status. Imagine the sweeping arcs of a falcon in flight, its wings extended gracefully against the backdrop of a sprawling kingdom. This image resonated powerfully within the medieval psyche, epitomizing the ideals of chivalry, courage, and the aspiration to rise above one's circumstances. A knight with a falcon was not simply a hunter, he was a figure of authority, embodying the very essence of the feudal system that governed society. However, beneath this polished exterior lies a shocking reality. The relationship between falcon and handler was not one of simple admiration. It was steeped in a complex power dynamic. While the falcon soared through the skies with an air of independence, the reality was that its survival depended heavily on the knight who cared for it. This paradox revealed a truth often overlooked: those who sought to control nature were, in many ways, rendered vulnerable by their reliance on it. The falcon's majesty was intertwined with the knight's ability to maintain its health and training, a delicate balance of power that could easily tip in favor of the bird. Consider the extensive training that falcons underwent, which mirrored the rigid hierarchy of the medieval social structure. Knights invested countless hours into owning their falcon's skills, teaching them to hunt and return, all while maintaining the bird's trust. Yet, this training was fraught with challenges. A falcon could easily become mired in its instincts, prioritizing its desires over its duties. The process could lead to moments of frustration for the knight, who stood at the intersection of duty and dependence. Why was this intricate relationship so revered in medieval society? The answer lies in the deeply entrenched beliefs about power and control. To possess a falcon was to assert dominance over nature, an act that mirrored the feudal system where the nobility held sway over the land and its people. The knight's ability to command a falcon paralleled his role as a protector of the realm, reinforcing his esteemed position within the societal hierarchy. It was a manifestation of the knightly virtues he was expected to uphold: strength, bravery, and mastery over one's environment. This dual nature of the falcon, as both a symbol of nobility and a creature requiring care and attention, speaks to the complexities of the knight's existence. Picture the knight at a grand tournament, gilded in armor and surrounded by admirers, yet burdened by the responsibility of ensuring his falcon's well-being. This balancing act was emblematic of the knight's life. The ideals of chivalry often clashed with the harsh realities of maintaining their status. Moreover, the significance of falcons extended beyond mere personal relationships. They were intimately woven into the cultural narrative. Tales of knights and their falcons became the stuff of legend, frequently immortalized in songs and stories that celebrated their exploits. The powerful imagery of a falcon soaring high above the battlefield often served to inspire courage and valor among the land's inhabitants, cementing the knight's place as a protector and leader. Yet, as you delve into this imagery, remember that the stories often glossed over the grueling realities of falconry. The training, the care, and the constant vigilance required to uphold the bond between knight and falcon were seldom acknowledged in the grand tales recounted in the halls of power. Instead, all that remained was a shiny veneer of glory that masked the grit and determination behind the knight's accomplishments. This contrast between the glamorized vision of knights, with their falcons, and the harsh realities of their care, is what makes the narrative so compelling. Allow this realization to resonate. Consider how the falcon, both a symbol of nobility and a reminder of the responsibilities that come with power, reflects the intricacies of medieval life. Now, as you continue to explore the multifaceted relationship between knights and their falcons, prepare yourself for further revelations about the roles these birds played in both society and the personal lives of the nobility. You are about to uncover the nuanced dynamics that defined falconry and its place within the medieval tapestry, a tale rich with honor, struggle, and the unyielding spirit of its participants. As you continue your journey through the medieval landscape, the gentle rustle of leaves transforms into the soft flapping of wings, guiding us into a deeper exploration of the falconer's role. This intricate dance between knight and falconer is where the beauty of falconry truly unfurls, revealing layers of dedication that often go unrecognized in the romanticized narratives of chivalry. Imagine the knight, adorned in armor that gleams under the sun, not only as a warrior but also as a falconer, entrusted with the care of his prized bird. The falconer's role was multifaceted, requiring an understanding of the bird's behavior, training techniques, and intricate needs. Picture the knight standing in a training field, the crisp morning air filled with anticipation, as he readies himself for yet another session of bonding with his falcon. The bond they share is profound, but far from effortless. In public, knights were often celebrated for their skill in the field, showcasing their falcons at grand hunts. Yet, few could grasp the extent of the work that went into developing these magnificent aerial hunters. Knights were not just figures of authority. They were also caretakers and trainers who had to become adept at handling the emotional and physical demands of their birds. The glamorous image of falconry often masks the hours spent teaching a falcon to respond to calls, the painstaking process of nurturing trust, and the often frustrating moments when the bird simply refused to cooperate. Let's delve into the training process itself, which was nothing short of an art form. The falconer had to employ various techniques to develop the bird's hunting instincts while ensuring it would return to its master. Days were spent perfecting the delicate balance of patience and persistence, coaxing the falcon to soar high and dive down for its prey. It was a journey of discovery, a dance of trust that required both parties to learn from one another. But amidst the beauty of this connection, the shocking reality of falconry looms large. Training a falcon was not only about personal skill, it also involved dealing with the bird's unpredictable nature. Imagine the knight in the field, a glimmer of hope in his eyes, only to be met with the falcon's indifference as it perches atop a distant tree, unwilling to budge. The frustration must have been palpable. Yet knights were expected to remain composed, embodying the virtues of patience and fortitude. Why was this struggle normalized within the world of nobility? The answer lies in the societal values that governed the lives of the aristocracy. Success in falconry and, by extension, in life was often perceived as a result of hard work, dedication, and unwavering determination. This ideal was mirrored in the knight's obligation to uphold the chivalric code, which demanded not only valor in battle but also mastery in all pursuits. To falter in training a falcon was to risk diminishing one's status among peers, a fate knights were eager to avoid. As you consider the emotional labor involved, you realize that the relationship between knight and falconer was steeped in deeper meanings. In moments of frustration, the knight could reflect on the perseverance required not just in the field, but in all aspects of his life. The act of training a falcon became a metaphor and embodiment of the knight's journey toward personal mastery, growth, and the pursuit of excellence. Moreover, the bond between falconer and bird transcended mere functionality. It was also deeply rooted in companionship. Picture the quiet moments shared in the falconer's mews, where knights would often converse with their birds, developing a sense of rapport that went beyond commands. This emotional connection was vital. It transformed the relationship from one of master and servant to one of mutual respect and understanding. You can almost hear the soft cooing of the falcon, the gentle rustle of feathers against leather gloves, as the knight fosters a sense of safety and trust. Yet as the knight toiled to cultivate this relationship, he was also reminded of the darker side of falconry. The harsh realities of training included the risk of injury to the falcon and the constant threat of failure. A falcon could become injured during a hunt, necessitating a level of care that was both emotional and physical. Knight had to face the heart-wrenching possibility of losing his companion, a scenario that would have weighed heavily on his heart. In this duality of relationship, where beauty and struggle coexist, the role of the falconer emerges as a testament to the complexities of knighthood. Knights were expected not only to fight battles, but also to nurture bonds, embodying the ideals of loyalty and responsibility on multiple fronts. The intricate dynamics of falconry became a mirror reflecting the truths of their lives, a blend of glory and hardship, a constant dance of power and vulnerability. As you continue to weave through this narrative, you find yourself drawn deeper into the world of falconry, eager to uncover more about the cultural significance of these birds and their noble handlers. There are still many layers to explore, revealing the ways in which falconry shaped identities, relationships, and the broader societal landscape of the medieval period. As you continue your exploration of the captivating world of medieval falconry, the sounds of the forest fade into the background, replaced by the exhilarating thrill of the hunt. Here, we delve into the dual purpose of falconry, where the lines between sport and warfare blur, revealing the strategic significance that these magnificent birds held in the lives of knights. Imagine the scene, a sprawling landscape dotted with castles and great estates, where knights gather with their falcons, preparing for the hunt. Here, falconry was not merely a leisurely pastime, it was a vital activity that served both recreational and military purposes. The thrill of the chase offered knights a chance to showcase their skills, while simultaneously owning their abilities for warfare. Picture the camaraderie among these noble figures as they exchanged tales of their finest catches, their laughter echoing through the air, masking the underlying stakes involved in their sport. But as you marvel at this glorious image, take a moment to consider the harsh realities that accompanied the hunt. While falconry provided an opportunity for knights to display their prowess and enjoy the spoils of the chase, it also demanded a level of dedication that was anything but glamorous. Knights were not only tasked with training their falcons, but also with understanding the intricacies of hunting together as a cohesive unit. The need for precision and teamwork meant that failure on the field could have significant repercussions. When a falcon was released into the sky, it transformed from a docile companion into a fierce predator, embodying the wild instincts that drove it. The knight relied on their bond to direct the bird toward the intended prey, but this was no simple endeavor. Picture the knight, arm outstretched, calling to his falcon as it soared above, searching for a rabbit or a hare. The tension in the air is palpable. It's a moment of trust and anticipation. However, the reality often bore witness to falcons veering off course, chasing distractions that could lead to missed opportunities and frustration. The shocking truth is that knights faced the risk of their falcons being lost or injured during such hunts. The outcomes were unpredictable, and the relationship between the knight and his falcon was fraught with peril. A falcon that failed to return or that was injured in pursuit of its quarry might not only jeopardize the hunt, but also embarrass the knight, undermining his status among his peers. In this light, the hunt became a high-stakes endeavor, where the glamour of potential victory often collided with the harsh reality of loss. Why was this risky pursuit so vital to knights? The answer lies in the intertwined nature of falconry and warfare in the medieval world. Knights were expected to embody valor and skill, and their effectiveness in falconry transferred into their abilities on the battlefield. The strategies learned through falcon training, patience, timing, and coordination mirrored these tactics required in combat. To be a master falconer was to demonstrate qualities that were essential for military success. The two disciplines were inextricably linked, each enhancing the other. Consider how this dynamic played out during times of war. Knights who excelled in falconry would likely be better equipped to lead their troops, employing the same instincts that guided their birds to navigate the chaos of battle. The skills developed in the field translated into a greater understanding of movement, strategy, and the unpredictable nature of conflict. This duality of purpose solidified the place of falconry in noble culture, as it was not merely a leisurely pursuit, but a reflection of a knight's overall prowess and significance. In addition to its military applications, falconry also functioned as a social tool among the aristocracy. Knights often engaged in friendly competitions, showcasing their falcons and their hunting skills. These gatherings allowed noble families to reinforce alliances and establish social hierarchies, all while indulging in a shared passion. The spectacle of falconry became a symbol of status, as those with the finest birds attracted attention and admiration from their peers. The ties formed over these hunts fostered camaraderie, creating bonds that reached beyond mere competition. Yet, amidst the revelry of the hunt, the solemn reality of falconry remained. Knights often faced the burden of expectation, where success was paramount, and failure could lead to ridicule. The pressure to perform, to embody the ideals of knighthood, cast a shadow over what was often perceived as an elegant pursuit. In this world of high stakes, the knight's identity was forever intertwined with the successes and failures of his falcon. As you contemplate the intricate connections between falconry, warfare, and social dynamics, you begin to appreciate the layers of history that define this noble pursuit. The dual nature of falconry as both a sport and a strategic endeavor reveals the complexities of knightly life, where the thrill of the hunt coexists with the weight of responsibility and expectation. With this understanding, you are primed to uncover more about the unique breeds of falcons cherished by knights, exploring how these majestic birds were selected and trained to fulfill their roles as both companions and powerful hunters. The journey ahead promises to reveal even more about the fascinating world of medieval falconry, where beauty and struggle are forever intertwined. As you continue to immerse yourself in the medieval ambience, the crisp scent of autumn leaves fills the air, suggesting a world rich with history and tradition. Let's now turn our attention to the unique breeds of falcons that captivated knights and noblemen alike, exploring the characteristics that made each one a prized companion on the hunt. In the world of falconry, the choice of falcon breed was paramount. Knights sought out specific species, each possessing distinct traits that made them ideal for various hunting scenarios. Among the most coveted was the peregrine falcon, renowned for its incredible speed and agility. Imagine this magnificent bird, with its sharp talons and keen eyesight, soaring high above the earth, a true embodiment of grace and power. As it dives toward its prey, reaching speeds that can exceed 240 miles per hour, the peregrine takes on an almost mythical status among those who sought to master the art of falconry. Yet, as you consider the beauty of the peregrine, it's essential to recognize the harsh realities that accompanied its care. While these birds were revered for their prowess, they also required meticulous attention and specialized training. Picture a young knight, eager to prove himself, grappling with the complexities of training a wild creature that had little regard for his authority. The thrill of ownership was often tempered by the challenges of ensuring proper care and training, a significant commitment for any noble. Another prized breed was the gerfalcon, the largest of the falcon species, often favored for its impressive size and strength. Knights appreciated the gerfalcon not only for its hunting capabilities, but also for its ability to intimidate rivals, serving as a symbol of dominance in the field. Imagine a nobleman, adorned in fine attire, stepping into the hunting grounds with a gerfalcon perched majestically on his glove, a clear statement of wealth and power. However, the selection of the right falcon was not merely a matter of personal preference, it was also influenced by the specific types of game hunted in a given region. In areas where smaller game was plentiful, knights might opt for the smaller tiercel, or male falcon, which was quicker and more agile in pursuit of smaller prey. Conversely, in regions where larger game like hares roamed, a more robust falcon was necessary. This strategic decision-making reflected the complexity of falconry, where understanding the environment and the capabilities of the falcon shaped the success of each hunt. While these majestic creatures were often treated as symbols of status, the care required to maintain their well-being was no small task. The shocking reality of falcon care revealed that, despite their noble status, these birds demanded a level of devotion that few could provide. Knights were expected to engage in the intricate rituals of care, ensuring their falcons received the right nutrition, housing, and training. Picture the knight, in his busy schedule of battles and tournaments, still finding time to meticulously prepare the falcon's food and clean its mews, an act that required not only physical labor but also emotional investment. Why was this devotion to falcons so integral to a knight's identity? The answer lies in the perception of falconry as a reflection of one's character and status. Owning a falcon was not just a matter of privilege, it was a commitment to the ideals of chivalry and honor. A knight who could showcase a well-trained falcon was seen as a figure of sophistication, embodying the virtues of patience, skill, and dedication, qualities that were admired and respected in medieval society. The bond between knight and falcon was further deepened through the process of training, which required a significant understanding of avian behavior. Knights had to learn how to read their falcon's moods, recognizing signs of stress or discontent that could impact performance in the field. A falcon that felt neglected or poorly treated might not only refuse to hunt but could also develop destructive behaviors, such as aggression or escape attempts. In this light, the knight's journey with his falcon was as much about emotional intelligence as it was about physical prowess. As you reflect on the unique breeds of falcons and the complex relationship that developed between knights and their birds, you begin to appreciate the rich tapestry of life, woven into the fabric of falconry. The selection of a falcon became an extension of the knight's identity and emblematic representation of their status, skill, and commitment to the ideals of knighthood. With this understanding, you are now poised to explore the elaborate hunting rituals and ceremonies that surrounded falconry, further revealing how these majestic birds influenced the cultural practices of the medieval elite. The next chapter in your journey offers a glimpse into the grandeur and tradition that defined the pursuit of falconry, illustrating the ways in which these rituals shaped the identities of those who participated. As you remain enveloped in the enchanting atmosphere of the medieval world, the anticipation of a grand hunt fills the air, shimmering with the promise of adventure and celebration. Let's now delve into the elaborate hunting rituals and ceremonies that surrounded falconry, revealing how these events were infused with tradition, artistry, and a sense of community among the nobility. Picture the scene, a sprawling estate, the ground meticulously prepared for the gathering of nobles. Tents adorned with vibrant banners flutter in the gentle breeze, and the sounds of laughter and music echo through the air. Knights, ladies, and their retinues converge, each eager to showcase their falcons and engage in the time-honored tradition of the hunt. This setting is not merely a backdrop, it is the stage for a ritual steeped in history and significance, where falconry transcends sport to become a social spectacle. The day of the hunt would begin with much fanfare. Imagine the sun rising over the horizon, casting golden rays over the assembled nobles. The knights would don their finest attire, often incorporating feathers and motifs inspired by their beloved falcons into their outfits. These garments became symbols of their commitment to the sport and their status within the noble hierarchy. As they prepared for the hunt, there was an air of excitement and electric buzz that hinted at the timeless connection between falconers and their birds. The rituals of falconry were rich with symbolism, reflecting the values and ideals of chivalric society. Before a hunt commenced, specific ceremonies were performed to honor the birds and seek their favor. Knights would gather in a circle, invoking blessings for both themselves and their falcons, paying tribute to the bond that existed between man and nature. Imagine the solemnity of the moment, the knights bowing their heads as they offered words of gratitude, acknowledging the falcon's role in their lives and the hunt ahead. However, the grandeur of these ceremonies often masked the underlying challenges of falconry. As knights prepared to release their birds, they faced the reality that success was not guaranteed. The shocking truth is that despite all the elaborate rituals and preparations, falcons were unpredictable creatures, susceptible to their instincts and whims. You can almost sense the tension in the air as the moment of release approaches, the knight's heart racing as he casts his falcon into the sky, hoping for a successful hunt, while knowing full well that the bird might fly away in search of its own desires. The hunt itself was a spectacle of skill and teamwork. As the falcon soared overhead, the knight's role shifted from master to guide, relying on the bond they had forged through countless hours of training. Picture the falcon diving gracefully toward its prey, and the knight's anticipation building as he watches the bird in action. The crowd, gathered in hushed admiration, is acutely aware that the outcome of the hunt reflects not only the falcon's skill but also the knight's prowess in managing the relationship. Yet, amidst the excitement, remember that the outcome was often unpredictable. The reality of falconry was that not every hunt ended in triumph. Knights faced the risk of their falcons missing their targets, or, worse, getting injured, or lost. It was in these moments of disappointment that the true essence of the knight's character was revealed. Instead of succumbing to embarrassment or frustration, Knights were expected to maintain their composure, reflecting the chivalric ideals of honor and dignity. Why was this connection between falconry and social standing so deeply ingrained in medieval society? The answer lies in the symbolism of the hunt itself. The successful knight-own who could demonstrate mastery over both his falcon and the art of hunting enhanced his reputation among peers. Each hunt was not just a personal victory, it served as a public declaration of skill and status. The knights who could successfully navigate the challenges of falconry were revered, their names and deeds woven into the fabric of chivalric folklore. The pomp and circumstance surrounding these hunting rituals allowed for the reinforcement of social bonds among the nobility. As knights showcased their birds and engaged in friendly competitions, they simultaneously solidified alliances and rivalries, ensuring that the hunt was as much about social dynamics as it was about the thrill of the chase. The camaraderie formed through these shared experiences served to strengthen the noble class, binding them together in their pursuit of honor and excellence. As the sun began to set on these grand hunting events, the celebrations would continue long after the last falcon had returned to its perch. Feasts filled with roasted game and extravagant dishes would follow, where tales of the day's adventures were shared amid laughter and revelry. These gatherings became fertile ground for legends, with stories of daring hunts and noble feats passed down through generations, further solidifying the significance of falconry in the cultural narrative of the time. In this realm of splendor and tradition, falconry transcended the boundaries of sport, becoming a social and cultural phenomenon that shaped the identities of the knights and their communities. As you reflect on these elaborate hunting rituals, consider how they encapsulated the complexities of life in medieval society, where beauty, struggle, and camaraderie coexisted in a delicate balance. Now, as you continue your exploration of this captivating narrative, prepare to uncover the surprising role of women in falconry, an aspect of medieval life that challenges traditional gender norms and reveals the depth of female contributions to this noble pursuit. As you bask in the fading light of the medieval sun, casting long shadows across the landscape, let's turn our attention to a fascinating and often overlooked aspect of falconry, the surprising role of women in this noble pursuit. In a world where chivalry and knighthood were predominantly male domains, women played a significant part in the realm of falconry, challenging societal norms and showcasing their skill and expertise. Imagine the grand halls of a castle, where noblewomen flit about, their laughter mingling with the soft cooing of falcons perched on their arms. While falconry is often romanticized as a male sport, women were not just passive observers, they were actively engaged in the art of training and caring for these magnificent birds. Picture a lady of the court, clad in elegant attire, skillfully handling her falcon with the same grace and authority as her male counterparts. She embodies a connection to nature that transcends the expectations of her gender. The involvement of women in falconry can be traced back to the very roots of the practice. Noblewomen were often tasked with the management of falcons, particularly in the absence of their husbands or during times of war. The shocking reality is that, despite the patriarchal structures of medieval society, women wielded considerable influence and expertise in the field of falconry. They were not just caretakers, but also skilled falconers in their own right, capable of training and hunting alongside male knights. Consider the unique challenges they faced in a society that often relegated women to the domestic sphere. The training of a falcon required not only technical skill but also a deep understanding of avian behavior and the patience to forge a bond with these wild creatures. Women who successfully navigated these challenges demonstrated their capabilities in a way that defied the era's gender norms. Picture a lady standing proudly among her peers, her falcon soaring high in the sky, a testament to her mastery and dedication. Even further, women often played crucial roles in the breeding and selection of falcons, working alongside their male counterparts to ensure the best specimens were chosen for training. This collaborative effort highlights the partnership between genders in the pursuit of excellence in falconry. The shocking truth is that women were instrumental in preserving and enhancing the lineage of prized falcon breeds, a legacy handed down through generations. Why was this involvement significant? It illustrates the complexities of medieval life, where the rigid roles often assigned to women were frequently challenged by their capabilities and aspirations. The presence of women in falconry reveals a nuanced understanding of the social dynamics at play. Nobility was not solely defined by gender, rather, it was shaped by skill, knowledge, and the ability to contribute meaningfully to the family's status. In addition to the practical aspects of falconry, women also contributed to the cultural narrative surrounding these majestic birds. They were often the storytellers of the household, recounting tales of hunts, adventures, and the bond between knight and falcon. This oral tradition intertwined with the fabric of chivalric folklore, allowing the accomplishments of female falconers to resonate throughout society. The image of a noblewoman with her falcon became a symbol of strength and poise, challenging the conventional narrative that often place women in subordinate roles. As you reflect on the surprising contributions of women to the world of falconry, consider how their involvement shaped the practice and challenged the societal norms of the time. The complexities of their roles reveal a rich tapestry of history, where gender boundaries were fluid and skill transcended traditional expectations. While the spotlight often shines on the gallant knights and their noble pursuits, the stories of women in falconry deserve equal recognition. They carved out spaces for themselves within the realm of hunting, proving that expertise and passion know no gender. The legacy of their contributions endures, woven into the very fabric of falconry and the cultural practices of the medieval elite. As you digest this newfound understanding of women's roles in falconry, prepare to transition into the next chapter of our exploration. We will trace the decline of falconry's popularity over the centuries, examining how changing societal views and advancements in hunting technology impacted its practice. The journey continues, revealing yet another layer of the intricate relationship between humanity and these magnificent birds. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the medieval landscape, let's examine the decline of falconry's popularity throughout the centuries, a transition that reflects broader societal changes and advancements in technology. This evolution reveals how shifting ideals about hunting, nobility, and human-animal relationships reshaped the practice of falconry, transforming it from a revered art to a pastime of a bygone era. In the late medieval period, falconry enjoyed its golden age. Knights and noblemen showcased their mastery of the art, and the pursuit became synonymous with status and privilege. Picture grand tournaments where falcons soared in tandem with their knights, creating a spectacle that captured the admiration of all. However, as the societal landscape began to shift, the very fabric of falconry began unraveling. One of the key factors contributing to the decline of falconry was the rise of firearms in hunting. Imagine a vast open field where the sound of gunfire began to echo, replacing the graceful swoops and dives of falcons in pursuit of prey. The advent of more efficient hunting methods meant that nobles no longer relied solely on falconry for their game. With firearms, hunting became less about the intricate dance between knight and bird and more about the sheer ease of taking down game from a distance. This transition marked a significant turning point in the way nobility interacted with nature, distancing them from the intimate bond once formed with their falcons. Moreover, the increasing availability of game and the expansion of agricultural practices meant that hunting became more accessible to the burgeoning middle class. This democratization of hunting shifted perceptions of nobility and status. Where once the nobleman's skill in falconry had been a distinguishing feature, it began to lose its exclusivity as more people engaged in hunting for sport, diminishing the allure that falconry had held for the elite. But the decline of falconry was not solely a matter of technology and accessibility. It also reflected changing cultural attitudes toward animals and nature. As the Enlightenment progressed, there was a growing emphasis on reason and scientific exploration. The romanticized view of falconry, which celebrated the bond between knight and bird, began to be overshadowed by an emerging perspective that favored empirical understanding and classification of the natural world. The majestic falcon was increasingly viewed through the lens of science rather than as a companion in noble pursuits. Consider the implications of this shift. The very essence of falconry, which thrived on the intricate relationship between human and animal, began to wane as society became more focused on categorizing and understanding nature rather than engaging with it intimately. The falcon, once a symbol of nobility, started to be seen as merely another creature in the ecosystem, subject to scientific scrutiny rather than reverent admiration. Why did this transformation occur? The answer lies in the evolving values of society. As the world faced rapid changes, industrialization, urbanization, and shifting class dynamics, the ideals of chivalry and the noble pursuits of the past began to feel increasingly outdated. The once vibrant culture of falconry, which had been so intricately woven into the tapestry of noble life, found itself at odds with a new reality that prioritized practicality and modernity over tradition and romanticism. With the decline of falconry came a significant change in how people approached animal companionship. No longer were relationships with animals primarily built on utility and status. Instead, the focus began to shift toward companionship and the emotional bonds that could be formed. The falcon, once revered for its hunting prowess, found itself replaced by other animals that offered a deeper connection. Dogs and cats, for example, became favored companions, embodying loyalty and affection that resonated more closely with the evolving ideals of society. As the twilight of falconry descended, the legacy of this noble pursuit remained intricately woven into history. While the grand hunts of yesteryear faded into memory, the stories of knights and their falcons persisted, echoing through time as a reminder of the complexities of human-animal relationships. The decline of falconry, rather than marking an end, signified a transformation, a shift in perspectives that would forever influence the way humans interacted with nature. As you absorb this reflection on the decline of falconry, prepare to transition into our next chapter, where we will explore the representation of falcons in medieval literature and art. This exploration will illuminate how these majestic birds continued to capture the imagination of society, even as the practice of falconry waned. We will delve into the cultural implications and artistic interpretations of falcons, uncovering the lasting impact they had on the medieval narrative. As the evening settles softly around you, let's turn our gaze toward the world of medieval literature and art, where falcons soared high as symbols of nobility, power, and the indomitable spirit of the hunt. Even as the practice of falconry began to decline, these magnificent birds continued to captivate the imagination of poets, playwrights, and artists, leaving an indelible mark on the cultural landscape of the time. In the grand tapestry of medieval literature, falcons often appeared as potent symbols, embodying the ideals of chivalry and virtue that defined the knightly class. Imagine a bard reciting verses in a dimly lit hall, the flickering candlelight casting shadows on eager faces as tales of valor and adventure unfold. In these narratives, falcons were more than mere birds. They represented the noble spirit of the knights who trained them. As the tales of chivalry were shared, the imagery of the gallant knight with his falcon became a metaphor for loyalty, bravery, and the pursuit of honor. One of the most celebrated examples of falconry in literature can be found in Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales. Here, falconry is woven into the rich tapestry of stories told by pilgrims on their journey. The imagery of falcons is often used to highlight themes of desire, ambition, and the complexities of human relationships. The knight, adorned with his falcon, becomes a symbol of the noble aspiration to rise above one's circumstances, capturing the essence of what it meant to be a part of the chivalric order. Moreover, falcons were frequently depicted in heraldry, featuring prominently in the coats of arms of noble families. The imagery of a falcon clutching a prey within its talons embodied the qualities of strength and dominance that nobles sought to project. Picture the banners fluttering in the wind at a grand tournament, each emblazoned with the emblem of a falcon, a proud declaration of lineage and honor. These visual representations reinforce the cultural significance of falcons, serving as reminders of the noble ideals that knights aspired to uphold. However, the portrayal of falcons in art was not solely about glorifying the knightly class. As artists began to explore deeper themes, falcons also became symbols of freedom and wildness. The majestic bird gliding through the skies embodied the idea of the untamed spirit, a reminder of the natural world's beauty and ferocity. In paintings, sculptures, and tapestries, falcons were often depicted in dynamic poses, capturing their grace and power, inviting viewers to reflect on the delicate balance between humanity and nature. Yet, amid the beauty and grandeur of these artistic representations lies a shocking reality. The falcon, while celebrated, was also subject to the harsh realities of life. In tales of falconry, the risks associated with hunting and the potential for loss were integral to the narrative. The knight's bond with his falcon mirrored the struggles faced in real life, where triumph was often accompanied by the spectre of failure. These dualities served to deepen the emotional resonance of the stories, as the audience witnessed not only the glory of the hunt, but also the sacrifices made in pursuit of nobility. Why did falcons maintain such a prominent position in medieval literature and art, even as the practice of falconry diminished? The answer lies in their symbolism, a fusion of ideals that transcended the physical act of hunting. Falcons became representations of the human spirit, embodying the aspirations of a society that valued valor, loyalty, and the quest for greatness. The allure of these magnificent birds resonated deeply within the collective consciousness, allowing them to endure as powerful symbols long after the decline of falconry as a popular pursuit. As you consider the lasting impact of falcons in medieval literature and art, you begin to appreciate how these representations shaped societal values and ideals. The cultural significance of falcons extended beyond mere sport, forging connections between humanity and the natural world that would echo through the ages. Now, as we continue to uncover the intricacies of this narrative, prepare to explore the modern legacy of falconry. We'll connect these historical practices to contemporary bird conservation efforts and sports, revealing how the spirit of falconry continues to thrive in our world today. The journey ahead promises deeper insights into the ongoing relationship between humans and these majestic birds, illuminating the lasting influence of falcons in our lives. As the final rays of sunlight dip below the horizon, casting a gentle twilight across the landscape, let's shift our focus to the legacy of falconry in the modern world. Ancient practice, once a hallmark of nobility and chivalry, has transformed into a contemporary pursuit that continues to captivate hearts and minds. Here, we'll explore how the spirit of falconry endures, influencing bird conservation efforts and the revival of the sport in modern times. Imagine a serene landscape where falconers walk with their birds, the morning sun illuminating the vibrant plumage of the falcons as they soar gracefully against the backdrop of a clear blue sky. The essence of falconry, once reserved for the medieval elite, has evolved into a diverse community of enthusiasts and conservationists committed to preserving the art and the birds themselves. In recent years, falconry has experienced a resurgence, attracting individuals from all walks of life who seek to reconnect with nature and engage in this time-honored tradition. Modern falconers are often motivated by a desire to understand and appreciate the complexities of these magnificent birds, fostering a relationship that honors the historical significance of falconry while adapting to contemporary values. Picture a young falconer carefully training her bird in a vast open field, echoing the dedication of knights from centuries past. The bond that forms is a testament to the timeless connection between human and animal, bridging the gap between history and the present. Moreover, the revival of falconry has extended beyond personal enjoyment. It has become an essential tool in wildlife management and conservation efforts. In urban areas, falcons are utilized to control bird populations, helping to maintain ecological balance while minimizing damage to crops and property. Imagine the sight of a peregrine falcon perched atop a skyscraper, a modern sentinel overlooking the city as it hunts for invasive species. This contemporary application of falconry mirrors the noble pursuit of the past, demonstrating that the skills honed by falconers are still relevant in today's world. Principles of falconry have also contributed to broader conservation initiatives aimed at protecting raptor species. Organizations dedicated to preserving birds of prey work to educate the public about the importance of these majestic creatures in our ecosystems. Through outreach programs, falconers share their knowledge, inspiring a new generation to appreciate the beauty and significance of birds like the falcon. Picture a classroom filled with eager children, eyes wide with wonder as they learn about the life cycle of raptors and the vital role they play in maintaining ecological health. The stories of knights and their falcons now serve as a launching point for discussions about stewardship and conservation. However, while the practice of falconry has evolved, it is essential to acknowledge the challenges that come with it. Modern falconers must navigate a complex landscape of regulations and ethical considerations. The shocking reality is that, despite the revival of interest in falconry, there are ongoing debates about the ethics of hunting with birds and the impact of human intervention on their natural behaviors. Falconers today are tasked with upholding the noble ideals of the past while ensuring the welfare of their birds and respecting the delicate balance of nature. Why is this evolution of falconry significant? It reflects a broader societal shift toward valuing the connections between humans and the natural world. The resurgence of interest in falconry signifies a desire to engage with nature in a meaningful way, fostering relationships that are rooted in respect and understanding. The echoes of the past resonate in the practices of modern falconers, highlighting the timeless bond that exists between humanity and these magnificent creatures. As you absorb this exploration of falconry's modern legacy, consider how the ancient practice continues to inspire and educate, bridging the gaps between history, conservation, and personal connection. The spirit of falconry thrives in the hearts of those who dedicate their time and passion to honoring both the art and the birds, ensuring that the stories of knights and their falcons endure. Now, as we prepare to transition to the next chapter, let's investigate the legalities of falcon ownership in the medieval period. We'll uncover the regulations that governed this noble pursuit, revealing how laws and societal norms shaped the practice of falconry during its heyday. The journey continues, shedding light on the complexities that defined the world of medieval falconry in a broader context. As the stars twinkle in the night sky, casting a serene glow over the landscape, let's delve into the legalities of falcon ownership during the medieval period. The intricate web of laws and regulations that governed falconry reveals much about societal structures, class distinctions, and the value placed on these magnificent birds within the aristocracy. Understanding these legal frameworks offers a deeper insight into the dynamics of falconry and its relationship with power, privilege, and status. In the medieval world, falconry was not merely a leisurely pursuit, it was a privilege that came with a set of responsibilities and expectations. The ownership of falcons was heavily regulated, and these regulations reflected the social hierarchies of the time. Only those of noble birth were typically allowed to own and train these birds, a policy rooted in the belief that falconry was an activity suitable only for the elite. Imagine a noble lord proudly displaying his falcon, not only as a symbol of his status but also as a demonstration of his adherence to the laws that governed this esteemed practice. The shocking reality is that these regulations varied widely depending on the region and the status of the individual. For instance, in England, a series of laws were established to define who could legally own and hunt with falcons. The Forest Laws, enacted during the reign of King William I, delineated the rights of the nobility to hunt game, thereby controlling access to falconry and reinforcing class divisions. Commoners were often barred from owning falcons, relegated to the status of spectators in a world dominated by the elite. Picture the frustration of a skilled commoner, longing to train a falcon, but hindered by legal restrictions that upheld the privileges of noble families. Notably, the legal framework surrounding falconry not only governed ownership but also dictated the types of birds that could be owned based on one's rank. Higher-ranking nobility had access to a wider variety of falcon species, including the prized peregrine and gerfalcon. In contrast, lower-ranking individuals were limited to smaller birds, reflecting the societal hierarchy that pervaded every aspect of medieval life. This legal distinction served to reinforce the connection between status and the ability to participate in falconry, intertwining the practice with issues of power and privilege. The significance of these regulations extended beyond mere ownership. They underscored the broader cultural values of the time. Falconry was perceived as a noble pursuit, and the laws surrounding it reinforced the idea that only those deemed worthy those of noble blood could engage in such endeavors. The practice of falconry became a reflection of one's social identity, where the possession of a falcon was synonymous with virtue, honor, and the chivalric ideals that defined the knightly class. Furthermore, the enforcement of these laws was often strict, with penalties imposed on those who dared to flout the regulations. Commoners caught hunting with falcons could face severe consequences, ranging from hefty fines to imprisonment. This served to maintain the status quo, ensuring that falconry remained a privilege reserved for the aristocracy. The shocking truth is that while the nobility revelled in the splendor of falconry, commoners were left to navigate a complex legal landscape that limited their opportunities for involvement. As society evolved, so too did the legal frameworks governing falconry. By the late medieval period, as the practice began to decline, the strict regulations surrounding ownership and hunting loosened somewhat. The rise of the middle class and changing social dynamics contributed to a gradual shift in attitudes toward falconry, reflecting broader societal transformations that questioned traditional hierarchies. Why are these legal aspects significant in understanding falconry? They highlight the interplay between societal values, class distinctions, and the cultural significance of the practice. Falconry was not simply a sport, it was a reflection of power, identity, and the structures that governed medieval life. As you consider the complexities of these laws, you gain a deeper appreciation for the role that falconry played in shaping social dynamics and cultural practices. Now, as we transition to the next segment of our exploration, let's take a closer look at the cultural variations in falconry practices across different regions and societies. We'll uncover the diverse traditions surrounding falconry, revealing how cultural influences shape the bond between humans and birds of prey throughout history. The journey continues, inviting you to explore the rich tapestry of falconry as it unfolds across the globe. As the night deepens around you, casting a tranquil stillness over the landscape, let's embark on an exploration of the cultural variations in falconry practices across different regions and societies. The art of falconry is not a monolith, rather, it is a rich and diverse tapestry woven from the threads of history, tradition, and local customs. By examining these variations, we gain insight into how falconry adapted to different cultures, revealing its universal appeal while highlighting the unique characteristics that emerged in distinct contexts. Imagine wandering through the bustling markets of the Middle East, where the ancient practice of falconry has deep historical roots. In regions such as Arabia and Persia, falconry was not merely a sport, it was an integral part of the cultural heritage. Here, the bond between falconer and falcon was celebrated through intricate rituals and ceremonies that emphasized the profound respect held for these birds. Picture a falconer in traditional attire, expertly handling a hooded falcon, preparing to demonstrate the bird's exceptional hunting skills to an eager audience. The art of falconry was distinguished by an emphasis on elegance and precision, reflecting the social status of falconers who were often members of the ruling elite. In these cultures, falcons were revered not only for their hunting prowess but also as symbols of nobility and heritage. The practice of falconry was often accompanied by elaborate poetry, art, and storytelling that celebrated the falcon's connection to the land and its people. The cultural significance of falcons was woven into the very fabric of society, where they were seen as embodiments of freedom, strength, and grace. Meanwhile, in Europe, falconry took on its own distinct characteristics influenced by local customs and social structures. In medieval England, falconry was famously associated with the aristocracy, where it became a mark of status and refinement. Imagine a grand hunting party, with the lords and ladies adorned in their finest attire, showcasing their falcons while engaging in friendly competition. The sport was characterized by structured hunts and carefully regulated practices, reflecting the hierarchical nature of medieval society. However, the allure of falconry extended beyond the elite. As you delve into the rural areas of Europe, you discover that common folk also engaged in falconry, albeit on a smaller scale. Local variations emerged, with individuals using smaller raptors for hunting small game, demonstrating that the passion for falconry transcended social boundaries. In these communities, falconry was often passed down through generations, with families sharing knowledge and techniques that enriched their cultural heritage. In Asia, falconry found unique expressions as well. In countries like Mongolia, the practice of using trained eagles for hunting has a storied history. Picture a skilled eagle hunter, known as a perched, navigating the vast steppes astride his horse, bearing witness to the breathtaking sight of a golden eagle launching into the sky. This tradition, with its own set of rituals and cultural significance, emphasizes the partnership between hunter and bird, showcasing a different approach to the art of falconry. Here, the bond is forged through a profound understanding of the eagle's instincts and behaviors, highlighting the deep respect for nature that characterizes this practice. The cultural variations in falconry practices reveal not only the adaptability of the art, but also the common threads that bind humanity's relationship with birds of prey. In each culture, the falcon or eagle transcends its role as a mere hunting companion, becoming a symbol of identity, pride, and tradition. The practices surrounding falconry are infused with rituals that honor the birds and the bond shared between hunter and prey, reflecting a universal appreciation for the majesty of these creatures. Yet, as you explore these rich cultural landscapes, remember that the essence of falconry is not solely about hunting. It is about the connections forged between humans and animals, the stories shared, and the legacies passed down through generations. Whether in the deserts of Arabia, the castles of Europe, or the steppes of Mongolia, falconry has served as a bridge between culture and nature, inviting individuals to engage with the wild in a deeply meaningful way. As you digest this exploration of cultural variations in falconry, prepare to transition into our next chapter, where we will confront the myths surrounding knights and their falcons. We will unravel the misconceptions and exaggerations that have developed over time, seeking to reveal the complexities of the knight-falcon bond and the realities of their shared history. The journey continues, promising to shed light on the intricate narratives that have emerged around this noble pursuit. As the night sky sparkles with stars, each one a distant story waiting to be told, let's delve into the myths surrounding medieval knights and their falcons. The romanticized images of gallant knights soaring through the skies, with their magnificent birds, often obscure the complexities and realities of their relationships. By unpacking these myths, we can gain a clearer understanding of the true nature of falconry and the dynamics that define the knight-falcon bond. Imagine walking into a grand hall, where tapestries depicting stunning hunts adorn the walls. Knights are celebrated in song and story as the paragons of virtue. Their falcons portrayed as flawless companions that obediently return with every quarry in sight. Such narratives create an image of an idyllic partnership, a knight and his falcon, perfectly in sync, embodying the ideals of courage, loyalty, and mastery. This is the glamorous illusion that has captivated audiences for centuries. However, the shocking reality is that the knight-falcon relationship was often fraught with challenges. Training a falcon was no simple task. It required immense patience, understanding, and sometimes sheer frustration. Picture the noble knight, standing in a field at dawn, calling out to his falcon, only to see it perched stubbornly on a distant tree, ignoring his commands. The bond was not always harmonious. It was built on trust, yes, but also on the day-to-day realities of managing a wild creature with its own instincts and desires. Moreover, while knights often showcased their falcons at grand hunts, they were not always the skilled trainers that popular myth suggests. Many falcons were trained by professional falconous individuals who specialized in the art of falconry. The knight would then assume the role of a proud owner, but the groundwork often lay in the hands of those with years of experience. This paints a different picture than that of the lone knight, gallantly training his bird in the wild. It was a collaborative effort, rich with a shared history but not always as personal as the legends would imply. The perception of falconry as an exclusively noble pursuit also perpetuates myths surrounding its accessibility. While the upper echelons of society were indeed the primary practitioners, commoners also engaged in falconry, albeit on a smaller scale. Many families trained their own birds for practical hunting, illustrating that falconry was not solely reserved for the aristocracy. This reality complicates the narrative, as the romantic image of knights and their falcons often overlooks the grassroots connections that individuals formed with these birds. Further complicating the narrative are the various cultural contexts in which falconry existed. Imagine a knight from England celebrated for his skill, contrasted with a perched in Mongolia who partners with a golden eagle. Both represent different cultural interpretations of the bond between human and bird, yet the prevailing myths have often favored the European knight's narrative. The reality is that falconry is a global practice, rich with unique traditions and meanings that transcend borders and cultures. In examining these myths, we must also confront the glorification of the knightly image. The notion that knights were always noble, benevolent figures who treated their falcons with the utmost care and respect glosses over the darker realities of medieval life. The practice of falconry was sometimes marked by brutality, as not all birds were treated with the reverence they deserved. The rigorous demands of training could lead to harsh methods, reflecting the complexities of ownership and control within the feudal system. This painful truth brings to light the often unacknowledged ethical dilemma surrounding the treatment of these majestic birds. Why do these myths persist? Then, the answer lies in our enduring fascination with heroism and idealized narratives. The tales of gallant knights and their falcons resonate through generations, embodying the values of courage, loyalty, and mastery over nature. These stories provide a comforting simplicity that allows us to escape into a world of honor and valor, even as they obscure the nuanced realities of falconry. As you reflect on the intricacies surrounding the knight-falcon bond, consider how the myths and realities intertwine to create a rich narrative tapestry. The relationship between knights and their falcons was indeed one of beauty and complexity, marked by triumphs and challenges that transcend the heroic ideals often portrayed in literature and art. With this understanding of the myths surrounding falconry and its practitioners, we will soon wind down our journey. In our final segment, we will offer a gentle reflection on the lessons drawn from the history of falconry, weaving together the threads of our exploration into a calming narrative that invites contemplation and appreciation of the enduring bonds formed between humans and the